啲碎石喺度啦，係嘛？你牛我驚佢變壞啊咁易。2、3年啦，冇落過嚟啦。
Mr. Wong is 77 years old. He's paralyzed from the waist down due to an industrial accident 23 years ago. His wife gave up her own career in order to look after him. Now that all of their children are raising their own families, they're empty nesters.
得閒嚟咁樣，好多人叫到死力咁樣㗎。你腳嗰隻腳曲咗啦，嗰隻腳，啲醫生就話啦，根本上整咗神經線就冇得好嘅，所以我哋要晾住佢俾佢啊。
梗係我想屙掉佢㗎。
For over 20 years, Mrs. Wong has taken care of her disabled husband virtually single-handedly. It's been a taxing task, both physically and mentally. Understandably, there are moments Mrs. Wong finds it hard to cope with all the strains and stresses.
喺咁多年嚟，兩個真係坐監埋至有大棚爛，係嘛？有啲人同你傾下偈啊，早退啊，都會行下咁啊。呢度係一間屋。 我又中意咪陪下佢咯，唔中意咪攬張床喺度咯。一面就床就作死啦，又話安利，又話進身，咪仲慘。3更半夜係咁樣嘈咧，我有時我發脾氣。大佬，我話你係人，我係人，我又周身痛，你嘈咩啫？鬧完自己又個心好似好過意唔起咁樣，真係好凄涼。自己又喺度喊。
The lack of mobility is indeed the bane of the couple's lives. Going out together is a physical challenge. After all, Mrs. Wong is getting on herself.
我家喺凳嗰度得啦。
你喺床本陣你點嘢啊？你未過呢度咪俾你睇下咯。
It's been 2 long years since Mr. Wong last left his flat.
佢呢度都未嚟做過喎，呢度都未嚟做過喎，真係喎。 見到好似一嚿
2、3年啦，冇落過嚟啦。覺得孫女成日落去啦，落去啦，落去啦。咁我冇落㗎嘛，感覺都幾好嘅。見你話嘅出嚟吸下啲空氣啊，見下人面都好嘅。
行唔行得到啊？
唔好好喎。
得，
冇將喎。
冇啫，冇啫，你冇將我咁啦，得唔得？
我跌㗎啦，我仆㗎啦。
死咯！
嚟。
你冇將你揼落我個頭講咗。
講真老婆大力。
隻親骨啊，係咪好辛苦啊？腰骨都換埋啊！所以咧，而家你想行就行唔到，嗰時有得行要唔？
Compared with other elderly couples, Mr. and Mrs. Wong are actually luckier than most, being able to stay in a community with which they're familiar. In recent years, the policy aging in place has been introduced. But if this policy is to work, there must be a host of complementary community care services in support. Otherwise, tragedies can happen. In June this year, an 80-year-old man in Shakiwan turned himself into the police, saying he'd strangled his 76-year-old wife.
我唔停氣真係，服侍得累嘛，累睇佢辛苦啊，睇佢疲勞嘛。你唔使講嘛，就講幾好啦。你唔使講話做咩啫，淨係起堂嗰一剎那你就告死㗎啦，唔好話第二樣啦，係嘛？唔好話賴屎賴尿啦。
呢個白金上藥，配話嘅，膽固醇藥就最收尾食，咁你執咗佢哋就擺喺度啦，唔會重複。呢個糖尿藥，夜晚執聽日嘅喎，唔可以執多咧佢會氧化嘛，太熱啦。呢度就好啲咯。
Mr. Chan is 89 years old and suffering from a number of chronic ailments. His wife was stricken with Parkinson's disease 6 years ago. Both of them are on strict medical regimen. Mr. Chan is in charge of looking after the medicines they take every day.
咁唔執佢點樣食？佢梗係唔食執啦，即係頭腦都差啲啦嘛。以前係識，而家就唔識。 呢度我休息室咯，避難室咯。佢要瞓覺，唔好開燈，唔好開電視，個寧靜佢就瞓得着。咪睇下書咯，有時做運動。
Despite the health decline that invariably comes with age, the Chans are an admirably loving couple. They were working in the same textiles factory 66 years ago when one day everyone was required to apply for a Hong Kong identity card on the factory's premises. Standing in line right behind Chan was the young lady destined to be his wife. Romantic serendipity soon led to matrimonial vows. Vows Chan evidently took very solemnly.
號碼溜溜山上，一朵溜溜的雲遊，淡淡溜溜走在紅天溜溜的深遊。所以我中意聽歌，好中意唱歌唱歌可以好開心，將所有啲嘢唱出嚟。
Mr. Chan is a member of an elderly choir, but he's been an absentee for 6 long years.
冇時間啊嘛，照顧太太啊嘛。佢瞓覺嘈住嘢，閂埋門窗咧，佢嗌我聽唔到，所以冇得唱咯。唔開心都冇辦法，即係差唔多唞氣都唞唔到。
老豆。
Yeah.
期康會送飯啊！
好，唔該。
健康會送飯嚇。今日食魚柳。
嗯。
菜咧就菜心嚟嘅。
嗯。
係啦，另外咧有脆肉瓜。
唔該晒。
好，慢慢食下，
小
心熱。好，拜拜。
拜拜。
Mr. and Mrs. Chan have chosen to age in place. But they would find it hard to get by without home care services like the 2 simple daily meals 6 days a week delivered by the NGO.
3個電飯煲咯。呢一個係蒸翻熱嘅飯，呢個就蒸翻熱嘅餸，呢個蒸翻熱嘅湯同埋菜。通常餸嘅飯咧就你知啦，唔係話咁好粗匹熱擺喺度，擺喺度個餸即唔夠熱啊！同時咧。 個牙唔乾，食啲你要腍啲㗎嘛，所以1個鐘頭一口飯啊，睇就唔係幾好，但係食就比較容易食咯。
係時候出發啦，嚟啦游鼠仔！
Mr. and Mrs. Chan are getting more than just meals from the integrated home care services they're receiving. Twice a week, a healthcare worker comes to help Mrs. Chan with her personal hygiene. But for the rest of the week, Mr. Chan's assistance is needed. Indeed, this old couple is a stark reminder of the severity of an aging population as a problem. 15% of the people in Hong Kong, about 1.16 million, are already 65 or older. A good portion of them need help in order to live out their lives with dignity, and they deserve assistance. But critics say the elderly services are inadequate and fragmented. On Sundays and public holidays, Mr. and Mrs. Chan usually venture out for a meal and grocery shopping because there's no food delivery from the NGO.
買啲薑，做生菜要薑同埋蒜頭啊。冇人送飯啊嘛，冇人送飯就係咁，你驚啊！揾我都揾唔到。
你想點剪啊？
擦耳仔啦，擦耳仔啊！
耳仔就露出嚟啦，後邊就短翻少少啦，好唔好？
Mr. Chan takes his wife to the hairdressers once every 2 months. It gives him a rare opportunity to rest.
咪2個月嚟一次啊！即係呢度方便啲嘛，又飛得好啲嘛。我 仲休息啊！啊！
睇呢陰片嚟講都係 OK 喎。
睇晒醫票啊，我哋周骨咯。
喂，大佬佢點樣敲襟啊？問嗰啲文同你講句。
咁啊，但係痛咧就係好痛嘅。
Mrs. Wong, whose husband is paralyzed from the waist down, injured her left foot 3 months ago. For a while, the injury was thought to be a fracture. What troubled her most was leaving her husband unattended if she undergoes surgery. Luckily, though, the injury proved to be nothing serious.
死過啦！俾佢嚇到我真係飆晒汗。
你係咪俾佢嚇驚咗嘅？佢而家都未好啊，受咗驚咗啊！
咁所以就好，我都話好過中6合彩啦，你唔使驚得咁犀利。佢話唔使開刀噶嘛，係輕鬆晒咯。即係日日諗㗎，日日問都話死啦，點樣死啊？佢又冇人理咧，最憎係呢樣嘢。好。
Mrs. Wong had every reason to worry about her husband, of course. But she should have known there's a service called Day Respite Service for elderly persons. Not knowing that, she turned to her 3 children for help. Her 5 grandchildren would also come to do their part on school holidays.
好彩啲細路仔生性嘅，先會氹得我哋開心。如果唔係，真係好慘。20幾年都係自己啫，真係未揾過人你點樣幫，我都唔識揾，又冇聽過，又未見過。如果有地方咧，側企嗰度1日半日咧，或者日頭側企咧，我去睇醫生咧就好啲。係啊，搞你老人院啊，你去唔去啊？嚇？
唔去。
點解啊？你冇唔先得，你用咩原因你唔去先得㗎？你講個原因出嚟㗎嘛。
冇自由啊！
咁你喺佢咪更加冇自由，淨係坐呢度。
坐度都有啲仔女幫下手啊嘛。
Whenever Mrs. Chan needs to see the doctor, the couple have to rely on a special welfare provision known as escorting services for medical consultations. They do have 7 children, but 3 of them have passed away, and the rest rarely show up. A few years ago, the couple were offered accommodation in a home for the elderly, but they declined the offer because they rejected being accommodated separately.
同一間冇用啊！我想幫佢誒幫唔到，唔同佢一齊住啊嘛，男女唔同啊嘛，啊成日瞓床唔俾落地，咁我去探佢就唔可以嘅，咁而家係辛苦啲，日日見面咯。
Last year, Mr. Chan was hospitalized due to his chronic heart problem. While he was away, Mrs. Chan had to go to a temporary hostel. Her experience there only reaffirmed their resistance to moving to a welfare facility.
佢有走埋嚟同你換床鋪咧，咁你攞都唔換啊，梗暗濕啦係咪？佢又走埋嚟鬧你啊，有時搣你咁。
啊，你冇辦法，你唔去老人院就要咁樣，暫時可以應付。 將來嘅事冇人更肯定。
就我走先啦，就比較幸福啲咯。我咩都唔識啊嘛，佢走先啦，我西洋啦，做乜點樣啫？做唔到又做唔到，難過都係咁話㗎啦。
我都係佢走先，唔係自私喎。我起碼走啊，有人辦事啊， 以後唔使受苦啊！我受得好多苦，佢受唔受得？所以我有嗰時啊，加上跛日兩個都收工啦。